It is Monday. Happy Monday to you. Welcome to CBS News Minnesota Morning Update. I'm Jason DeRusha. Hope you had a nice weekend. If you celebrated Easter or Passover, Passover's still going on. Hope you had a nice holiday with family. Ramadan, we're still in the middle of that. So hopefully people had a chance to spend some time with family. If you're out doing an Easter egg hunt, perhaps you were chasing the rolling eggs because of the wind and the cold, and it's continuing. Let's give you a look at your weather forecast for today. And that very fancy squiggly animation means it is windy. We've seen wind gusts. Oh, I don't know. They're so bad that it currently feels like it's 18 degrees in the Twin Cities. Yep, that's special, isn't it? Today we'll get into the mid-30s. That's as good as it's going to get. But, well, here's the great news. Let's look at the forecast for the rest of the week. Isn't that nice? Thursday looks like that's going to be my special day coming next to watch. I think that's the best day of the week, Thursday. Yeah, Saturday it'll be close to 70, but isolated thunderstorms. So we'll see what Saturday's like. But there's some kind of little glimmers of hope. It's what we need after this crushing couple of weeks of weather. Maybe I feel like spring. I used to be pro-spring. I thought my favorite seasons of the year. Spring is about rebirth, growth, new opportunity, new life. I love it. This year's spring reminds me of a slow, lingering death. So I'm a little mad at you, spring. I am mad at you. But you know what? We're going to ask you how you feel about the weather in just a second. How about a history lesson? Easter, Easter moves, right? So kind of the weather history of Easter is a little goofy, but let's show you some of the history. Last year, Easter was 2 weeks earlier than this year. 77 degrees, no rain, no snow, as we watch the footage of people out doing an Easter egg hunt at CHS Field. Warmest Easter on record in the Twin Cities with 1977. It was 88 degrees. That was right around this same time, a late Easter. 1894, early Easter. That was like March 25th, I believe. When I looked that up, it was 2 below. So we run the gamut, right? And we really liked how one of the kids at the Easter egg hunt described the weather.
It's sort of coldly normal.
Yeah?
It's like a normal weather, but it's also cold.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Coldly normal. So that young lady's weather description inspired us to ask you today, how would you describe our recent weather? She did it in 2 words, coldly normal. So that's all we're giving you. 1 or 2 words. How would you describe our recent weather? Keep it clean. We'll read some of your feedback as you post it on the Facebook page in just a minute. For the first time in more than 2 years, tens of thousands of Twin Cities students will have the option to leave their face masks at home today. Starting today, both the public school districts in Minneapolis and in St. Paul have lifted their mask mandates. Of course, as always, people have the option to wear a mask if they want to. And I hope people are getting good at just zipping it. And you don't need to comment or ask people why they're wearing a mask. Some people choose to, but you will not be made to in the public schools starting today. Philadelphia today becomes the first major U.S. city to reinstate its mask requirement for indoor public spaces. This weekend, a group of business owners and residents filed a lawsuit trying to stop it. But they have not succeeded, at least as of this point. Today is when that federal transportation mask mandate had been set to expire, but the government has extended that mask mandate until May 3rd, as we've seen a bit of a burst of new COVID cases. Minnesota lawmakers, are you full of optimism? I'm trying to bring the optimism, the energy today, and hopefully our lawmakers will bring that same enthusiasm to the state capitol. They had a week-long spring break, and they've got, $9 billion to spend. I said this to you at the beginning of the surplus, that our legislators seem to do better with a massive deficit. The bigger the surplus, the more arguments there are, and the more difficult it is to find a path to agreement. The session set to end on May 23rd, and that $9 billion surplus is going to be the main focus of debate. How much should be returned in permanent tax cuts? How much should be sent back to taxpayers, as Governor Tim Walz has proposed, that $500 check to be sent out to everyone? Lawmakers also debating, how much money should we spend on public safety? What way do we spend that money? How much on education? Minneapolis Public Schools just gave teachers and educators a big raise. How do we work that out? What about the frontline worker checks, which that debate has been going on for a year and a half? They can't figure out how to spend that money that they were given to give in bonuses, and that they haven't gotten an answer to. So we're not seeing much action, but you know how it goes. Everything will be tied up in the last week, and that'll be that. Let's talk about road construction, because road construction season underway today, and this is a pretty big project. So if you are driving through the center of St. Paul, this is where 94 and 35E come together, right in the downtown area. University Avenue intersects with 35E, so that's kind of the chunk we're talking about. And 35E will be down to 2 lanes in each direction between 94 and University. It's a beautiful part of St. Paul, but the roads are old and need to be resurfaced, and so that's what's going on out there. And you can expect some delays for sure as those lane closures and road barriers go up. But that'll be starting today. Is this live or is this tape? That's live. Look at that. See the snow on the side? That's sort of the giveaway, right? Live look at 7:36 on the highway this morning. Minnesota sports fans, what a weekend, right? The Timberwolves took game 1 of their playoff in Memphis. Oh, that was such a fun game to watch. And how about the Wild in overtime? They secure a spot in the playoffs for the 3rd straight season. 5-4 overtime win against the Sharks last night. And aren't you feeling good for the Wild? Like, we have a legit shot to actually win a round 1 playoff series. In the past couple of years, we kind of snuck in the playoffs. But this year, the Wild are looking good. And so, wouldn't it be amazing if both of our teams actually won a round 1 playoff series? Don't want to jinx it, but pretty excited to have that joy in our cities, especially in this time. How about Boston? Marathon Monday is always a special event. A lot of Twin Cities folks love running our marathon, and part of the goal is to qualify for Boston. So for the first time since the pandemic began, full Boston Marathon runners taking the course. It is Patriots Day there. 30,000 runners from 122 different countries competing in this year's Boston Marathon. 50th anniversary of when women were allowed to officially compete. 12,000 women will be running the Boston Marathon this year. And what a story from one of those runners from Minnesota, Val Rogaszewski. She's one of 8 women who finished Boston that first year, 50 years ago. So cool. Val's going to have incredible support out on the course this year as well. Her 2 daughters and a cousin, all marathoners, will be running with her. And Val talked to our David Schumann about this cool story from David. You can check that out on our website, full story at WCCO.com. She kind of shares her strategy. And oh, it's so great. Terrific story. 50 years ago, did you think she thought she would still be running that marathon? Pretty great. Tax day is today, usually April 15th, but because Good Friday, it's today. If this comes as a shock to you, you've got some issues. So you can quickly file your taxes out, your tax form. You could call a tax accountant crying, begging. Here's kind of the stats so far. So April 8th, 70 million refunds have been issued, and people getting more money back, up about 10%. So saw that, $3,200. There it is. Pretty good. A lot of people getting refunds. If you file at the last minute, like I do, it's probably because you're writing a check. But I'm glad to help, right? Like, I just want to do my part, help pay for that $9 billion surplus. Whatever I can do to help Minnesota get a couple of more bucks in the coffers, I'm here to help. Popular Easter tradition back at the White House today. First time in 2 years, President and First Lady doing the annual Easter egg roll. That's going to be fun, right? This year's theme for the egg roll is education. Get it? So First Lady Jill Biden is a teacher, of course. So they'll have a reading area, a talent show, a little bit of a phys-ag zone. Phi-ag, is that how you say it? They canceled this thing the past couple of years because of COVID. But today should be bananas. 30,000 people expected to attend out there. It's a great tradition. We've seen presidents of both political parties doing it. Really fun. Okay, our weather, less fun, maybe less fun. I'm kind of excited to see what you guys came up with. 1 or 2 words. Here's Sandra, typical Minnesota. I mean, we're on our 8th winter. It does feel that way, doesn't it? Thanks, Sandra. Appreciate that. Groundhog Day, says Ginger. It does feel that way with the wind. Boy, Thursday, Friday, we had those 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and today we're saying, like, it's not so bad. It's only a 35-mile-an-hour gust. Thanks, Ginger. Here's Judith, Minnesota spring. Yeah, emoji fest of you got some sun, you got some clouds, rain, snow, and then severe weather, the wind and the tornado at the end. Your emoji game is on point, Judith. Very nice. Thank you. Here's Jenny, second winter. It's a good description. We had a young lady who described the winter as coldly normal. Our weather is coldly normal. Thanks, Jenny. Here's Mary. Weather whiplash. Yeah. All you can do, here's what you can do about this. Complain. You can complain about it nonstop. Don't let anyone rob you of your joy of complaining about how bad this weather is. It doesn't mean you don't like the cold. You just prefer the cold to be in January, not in April. So you have permission from me. Complain all you want. That's the morning update from CBS News Minnesota. We are your streaming news headquarters. Where else can we do a news program like this? Nowhere. Man, if we did this on TV, Ron, imagine what would happen. We'd be yanked off the air in 10 minutes. Yep. All right, we'll do this again tomorrow. Have a good day.